In the sewing room today, let me go ahead and tell you about what's going on right here. First of all, like and subscribe. Let's send this out to more people. We all need more happiness. Quilts are happiness. We need to get this down to the next generation. I am here to help you create heirlooms one stitch at a time. Also, when you hit the arrow down below, we'll take you another of this quilt getting stitched out with other tips and ideas that are there. So Darla brought me this darling quilt. I really love it so much. It's not real big. It's a cutie pie. It's about 40 inches. Very, very sweet. And she brought the backing here. It didn't look real huge, so I said, hey, let's take just a minute and check the backing. I'm so glad we did while she was here. And it turns out it's literally a piece of fabric, selvage to selvage. Well, if you think about selvage to selvage is usually about 42 inches. So I literally have just barely 42 inches, including the selvage, to do a quilt that's just a tad over 40. It's like 40 and a quarter. And you know, I really need 3 inches on each side. So this needs to be about 46, but it's just barely 42. And that includes the selvage, which is not something I'm real excited about including in the quilt. So we talked about a variety of ideas. One thing that could happen is she could literally, or I could, take off a whole row of the quilt and that would reduce the size. And she said, well, if that's easier, that's fine. And that's an option. It has happened before, but I'd love to keep the quilt the size that it is if possible. So the other option is to attach leaders to the selvage edges, top and bottom. Now I'm able to connect the selvage to the take-up bar and to the belly bar using these leaders to grab with. And then I can use the entirety of the backing to be able to include the quilt onto and do the stitching on. So that's my preference. That's what I'm doing right now. I just have some leftover fabric that I keep for occasions just like this. It doesn't have to be as wide as this. This is about 5.5 inches. This is actually some leftover binding, which is 2.5 inches. It's fine. I need to have something to be able to grab. So 2.5 to 3 inches each side is excellent. I will use that and I will show you how I'm going to connect it onto the red snappers to hold it onto the machine. Is it ideal? You know, it's a little better if I still have more. I still only have just barely about 41, maybe and a half inches max. And so I need to really watch out because as the quilt ends up rolling up with density of the stitching, sometimes it would go past this part on the bottom. So I'm gonna have to really watch it carefully. Luckily, it's not too large of a quilt. If it was anything more than such a tiny quilt, even this would maybe probably not be enough for it. But that is something to consider. I can attach the leaders to it, or you can attach the leaders to it. That's a service that I offer. So let's talk about it while you're at the quilting studio. And I'm so glad we took time to be able to measure this out. Take a minute to follow on Facebook, on Instagram. You will see pictures of Darla's beautiful quilt over there. It's just so charming. It's such a sweetie pie. And stay tuned because there's going to be only more goodness to come where that is. Have an amazing quilty day, my friends.